Over $80 million has been allocated in this year's budget for the revision of the Amerindian Act of 2006. After 5 years, this legislation is still a work in progress, according to Minister of Amerindian Affairs Pauline Sukai, when questioned by the Parliamentary Committee of Supply on Monday night. However, Member of Parliament Vincent Henry told Nightly News on the sidelines of the 100th sitting of the National Assembly that the delayed revision of the legislation is a disservice to the country's indigenous peoples.
Glaringly, it will not be done in 2025. And that is not something that's good for Guyana and the indigenous people, because there are so many weaknesses in the Amerindian Act at this time here. That's what we are seeing daily.
Henry, who is also the leader of the Guyana Action Party GAP, while acknowledging the robust components required to tighten the legislation, referenced a key area that must be addressed.
It has some very good parts, right? But there are some very weak links in it, which we have to correct. For example, the Geology and Mines Commission still has a lot of authority, to give mining concessions on indigenous lands.
The Amerindian Act of 2006 is the primary legislation that governs the affairs of indigenous peoples. Henry noted that this legislation provides for the recognition and protection of collective rights of indigenous villages and communities, and the promotion of good governance. He also highlighted that currently under the ruling People's Progressive Party, these rights are undermined.
Recently, a Tushao mentioned at the National Tushao's Council that he went to uplift documents, to see what he'll be getting as his extension. And he found that there were over 20 concessions granted by the GGMC for mining activities on his land.
Henry said that the $80 million allocation is a waste of time.
You could put $1 billion, but is what you're really aiming at. And they're not aiming to complete the process. And that is why when we win, we are going to work on it as a matter of priority. The indigenous people deserves that.
Meanwhile, Dawn Hastings Williams, also a member of parliament, shared her views on the much-needed amendment.
The time is now to take the land titling issues very seriously, and the Amerindian Act. There are some flaws, there are some very good parts of the law or the act, the Amerindian Act, but there are some very weak areas that needs to be seriously taken, revised.
Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.